So, OpenAI just did something absolutely wild. We're talking a move so big it involved killing a billion-dollar deal with Disney and shutting down one of their own flagship products. And you gotta ask, why? Well, it's because they're in an all-out sprint to win the AI race, and they think the finish line is right around the corner. So, what on earth did they build that's worth all that sacrifice? Let's get into it. So, that quote, that's from OpenAI's president, Greg Brockman. And he's talking about AGI, artificial general intelligence, the kind of AI that can learn and reason just like a person. And he's saying they are right on the verge of cracking it. But here's the real kicker. It's not some 5-year plan. The model is done. It's built. It exists right now. This isn't about what's coming next year. This is about what's about to drop in the next few weeks. All right, so let's meet the model at the very center of all this chaos. Internally, they've given it a pretty humble code name, Spud. So get this, on March 24th, the huge initial pre-training for this model officially wrapped up. This all went down at the massive Stargate data center out in Texas, running on a mind-boggling array of over 100,000 of the most powerful GPUs on the planet. Now, this is absolutely crucial to understand. This is not just GPT-4 with more horsepower. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has been really clear that they're making a fundamental shift here. They're moving away from just training on all the information we already have, and instead, they're using a technique called reinforcement learning to, and I'm quoting him here, discover new science. The idea is for the AI to actually find new solutions humans haven't thought of yet. That is a whole different ballgame. Okay, so why the insane rush? Well, that brings us right to our second section, the great AI race. Because, OpenAI isn't doing any of this in a vacuum. Far from it. They are on a desperate, high-stakes collision course with every single one of their biggest rivals. I mean, just look at this timeline. It perfectly captures the chaos. In just a couple of months, we've had massive releases from every major player. And you see that deadline there at the end, May 19th? That's Google's huge annual conference. And you better believe OpenAI knows they have to get Spud out the door before then, or they risk losing the entire story for the rest of the year. And the competition is just fierce. Google's out there promising a 2 million token context window. To put that in perspective, that's like letting the AI read the entire Lord of the Rings series all at once. Anthropic's new model is so good at reasoning, it's finding brand new security holes, zero-day exploits, in code that's been around for decades. And then you've got Meta, which just broke its own tradition by releasing its first-ever closed-source model, and a company called DeepSeek is threatening to do everything these guys can do at literally 1/100th of the cost. The pressure is just immense. So if you really want to understand just how all-in OpenAI is on this new model, we have to look at what they were willing to destroy to build it. And this is where the story gets truly wild. $1 billion. 1,000 million. Just take a second to really let that number sink in, because it's basically the ticket price for what happened next. That is the value of the partnership with Disney that OpenAI just completely blew up. They shut down their groundbreaking AI video product, Sora, and told Disney, their billion-dollar partner, less than an hour before they told the public. And why? To free up every single last bit of computing power for Spud. This internal statement says it all, doesn't it? They looked at the competition, they looked at the timeline, and they decided they couldn't afford any side quests. Sora was a side quest. A billion-dollar deal with Disney was a side quest. The only thing that mattered was winning the race. Which brings us to their endgame. Because this has never been about just building a slightly better chatbot. No, OpenAI is aiming for something much, much bigger. Their grand plan is to build a unified super app. They're taking their chat, their coding assistant, and their AI web browser and merging them all into one single platform. On top of that, they've been quietly buying up companies in finance and healthcare to build specialized AI. And the engine that's going to power this whole thing? You guessed it, Spud. So the ultimate vision here is an AI assistant that actually knows you. An assistant that remembers every conversation, that writes your code, understands your financial goals, and can analyze your health data all in one place without ever losing context. It wouldn't just be an app you use, it would become the platform for your entire digital life. But, and this is a really big but, this relentless, single-minded push for progress comes with some really serious questions. And that brings us to the other side of this story, the enormous risks and the real costs of moving this fast.
Now, this looks like a tiny change, but it is incredibly revealing. OpenAI quietly went in and removed one single word from its core mission statement, the word safely. When you're building what might be the most powerful technology in human history, and it's going to have a persistent memory about millions of people, taking that one word out is a huge red flag.
And honestly, it's part of a disturbing pattern. Their top safety team, it was starved of resources and then it just dissolved. They've had major security breaches, including one linked to North Korea. They're currently facing 7 different lawsuits over the alleged impact of their products on the mental health of minors. And it came out that they banned a user from making violent threats, but then chose not to report it to law enforcement. The overall picture here is, well, it's concerning. So, with everything that's happening, what in the world does this mean for you? Let's try to pull this all together with a clear, simple strategy for how to navigate this wild new era of AI. So what can you do? First, and this is the most important one, start building now. Don't sit around and wait for Spud. The skills and the workflows you develop today are going to transfer directly. Second, learn the method, not the specific tool. The best model is always a moving target. If you master the core concepts like prompting, you'll be able to adapt to any platform. And finally, keep a very, very close eye on the next 60 days. With Google's big event and all these other launches, the entire AI leaderboard could look completely different by the time summer rolls around. Which really just leaves us with this one big question to chew on. As these companies race to build the most powerful technology humanity has ever seen, who's actually